Hello guys, welcome to my New York Giants 7-round mock draft video. I have been preaching this Our Lads website. They add and make it easy for you to know who, a team has added, and as you can see, all of these orange names are all new additions that have been added to this team this offseason. Obviously, the Giants have been pretty active, a good amount of cap space this offseason, but it still, to me, has a glaring issue that this team hasn't really addressed O-line. And O-line, to me was one of the, just huge issues with this team last year. And I mean, even more so the year prior. But with that, besides QB, obviously one QB on the roster, who knows what the heck is going to happen with that. But the G-men have they have 7 picks. They don't have a 6th rounder. Or wait, 8 picks. All right, but without further ado, let me start this thing. And let me close this out because I don't think we'll really need that. So as we can see, Cam Ward first, Travis Hunter second. I do think that if he falls to this, I think that, you're going Shedeur Sanders. I think that he's accurate. I think that, it shows your plan, to grab him, to be a guy that, like, you go for and that sort of thing. And it's like with the return of Darius Slayton, I think they realized that, like, we still have a pretty solid cast. They could definitely add a wide receiver, obviously. But it's like he would have a all right supporting cast. I just think that you'll look at some of these guys and you see that maybe they just need better protection and that sort of thing. And then looking at this pick, I think this is a very good pick position as well because you have certain guys. And I think that, Josh Conerly could be your guy. And it's like, great pass blocker, great pass block sacks, 1 sack given up in 523, playing premier talent in college and doing, consistently well against most talent. I would definitely take him here to address your O-line. One other thing I guess I would say I would address with this team potentially, would be, wide receiver or even halfback. I liked what Porter did, last Tracy. Why did I say Porter? I don't know why I'm thinking about Tracy Porter, you guys. Don't ask me. Tyrone Tracy did well, but he didn't seemingly be your typical back to me. I kind of look at this guy and I'm like, 5'11", 210 stockier. Nothing wrong with him, I guess. It's just kind of one of those things that, like, last year he was a rookie and now he's 25 years old. I don't think it would be out of the ordinary, but I also don't think that they would go halfback right here. And perhaps you're looking for some of these guys that are maybe like DBs. Your DB room isn't terrible, but but you added Paulson Adebo from New Orleans. I like that. Javon Holland, the free safety, obviously, from Miami, he's always been a pretty good player. I think that's a good pickup. Deonte Banks, who was a rookie last year, I believe, got burned. And then Drew Phillips, I think, you can add another person here. And it's like a lot of guys that, it's interesting. Even a safety might be added. Their backup to Javon Holland is Anthony Johnson Jr., whom I know from being on the Packers and not making the roster. But what's another kind of, position you could potentially add? Maybe you look to add honestly, another lineman. I'm not even joking about, that sort of thing. And I think that, this guy being a kind of a bigger guy could move in, he could move inside. He could, be that power kind of guard, but, he has a good size, is big, powerful, and that sort of thing has been moving up in drafts. I think that, I think I think that this guy, shades of Phil Loadholt was a mauler. And it's like you could get that for your Studley Young running back if you don't draft a new one. I'm going to go back to back line picks here because I think that that's what the Giants kind of need. I think, they also say they need defensive interior. I don't get that. I'm looking at this and I actually drafted Devin Neal to, I think the team I drafted for yesterday. I think this guy, being as young as he is, could be a better version of Tyrone Tracy. He's stockier, heavier, much younger, and it's like I don't know whether or not they're high on Tracy, but I didn't see much last year. I think he was all right, but it's like it is the Giants we're talking about. I'm gonna draft this guy again. I like Devin Neal to this. And it's like, then looking here, maybe you could grab a safety, perhaps you could get another wide receiver. I actually do look at Isaiah Bond, and I think this is a guy that you could bring in and be your speed guy. Because what don't they have on this team? They don't have a speed guy. You've got Neighbors who, has big playability, but he's not a speedster. And then it's like neither is Darius Slayton, and then Wandale Moore is more of your prototypical slot guy underneath dude. So I say a Bond, I'm going to say could go to the Giants here if he's available. I think that would be a huge pickup, but I feel like a guy with his speed could be grabbed earlier. Looking at, now we're in round 5. We've drafted a wide receiver, QB, running back, and 2 tackles. So it's kind of like, who do we think here could be a guy? I think that, this is a good tight end draft, and your tight end right now, who I is Theo Johnson. I don't have a problem with Theo Johnson, but it's like, I thought Daniel Bellinger would, be, step up potentially with, his speed, his athleticism, and that sort of thing. And it's like Theo Johnson, last year was a rookie. I didn't see much from him. I don't think the Giants have done much in terms of tight ends in a while. I'm trying to remember the last good tight end that they had, and that sort of thing. But it's like maybe we grab a tight end, to really look at this. And it's like we have Jake Brennenstuhl right here. Not a good contested catch rate, but, has really good height. And it's like, I think he could become, the kind of guy that it's like a huge mismatch in the NFL. But it's like, do the Giants want that? I'm actually gonna say no. I think that they value corner a lot. I think that, that you have a couple corners here, that are kind of around this range, and I know that they like to play a lot of man coverage. Quincy Riley obviously isn't a man cover corner. What about Elijah Huzzy? Man coverage. What kind of size is he? I do think that they don't mind having a guy who's a little bit shorter, that could go in and play the slot and play man coverage. Now we're all the way down to the 7th round. The picks I've made so far obviously represent as follow. What do we need for this team? What could really, really help this team? Perhaps you're looking for a second wide receiver. I think very possible. Very possible. We got Dyke is the highest rated right now. Yards per run very high. pretty good contested catch rate, and a size and a good amount of experience through a major school. Would they look to Jimmy Horn? Maybe a little too early here. Doesn't have good contested catch. Very light, very small. I just don't think that they go that route. I will have them draft Dyke right here. Now with their final pick, I think we need to go defense. I think that, if we look and we see anything available, do we have like a safety available? Not really. Dante Trader, I think I drafted him, and he's more of like a box guy, a dude who can come and play in the box and that sort of thing, and be a good tackler. I don't think that they need that. I don't think they need that on the Giants. I think their defense played pretty scrappy for the lack of talent, and they'll only get better with time. Looking at this, perhaps, they go an actual like defensive interior, like it says. Do they go with a guy like this? Pass rush win rate is actually pretty high. He gets a good amount of hurries and improved a lot this year. You get a guy like this and, over tackle and then B gap, A gap. This is a guy who's very versatile and has played in numerous positions, which maybe you need and you can do with a guy like, Dexter Lawrence. So you know what? I'm going to have them grab this guy because maybe they can have a multiple look offense and confuse a lot of, these grades. And of course they roast me on the Shedeur Sanders pick here, probably because of like, how low he is. Oh, they have Mason Graham here. It's kind of whatever. They give A- to both the tackles. Huzzy A- right here. And then even, wow, A+. That's kind of nuts to me. But it's like, to me, this would be, a much needed kind of thing, for the Giants. And it's like, if I was a fan, I would be happy with this, and it's like Devin Neal could be kind of your replacement for Singletary, who's a know what you get kind of guy, is going to run hard, but he's getting up there in age. And it's like, we all know how rough of a position it is, and that depth is very important for halfback, in my opinion. It's like you lose one, and then it's like you can quickly become one-dimensional with a lackluster run game. But tell me what you guys think in the comments here, and and whether you'd be happy with this if you're a Giants fan, or whether you think that this would be a good draft for them. But that'll do it for this one. I'll see you guys tomorrow with the 4 out of 32 teams for a 7-rounder. Thank you.